Everyone. Welcome to this Aquarius pre-full moon webinar, which will feature the visionary artwork of Nicholas Roerich. I'm Francis Donald, sitting in for Michael Robbins. You've probably all heard that about the continuous vigil for Michael. Can we put that link in the chat box just in case it would be useful to somebody for the vigil? Can you do that, BL?
Okay, just give me a second.
Yeah. I mean, anytime during this, the next while. So if you want to copy paste that link, but I'm sure you've all received emails about that. So it's a very sad time for us, but this is an extremely important sign in the work of our work with the ancient wisdom teachings. The exact time of this coming Aquarius full moon will be tomorrow, February 16th at 4:56. I don't have the seconds. 4:56 GMT PM, 4:06 PM GMT, which is just under 24 hours from now. And there will be a silent, during the full moon time, there will be a silent vigil. I don't know if is that going to be the same vigil as it is for Michael? Is it just the same one, or is there going to be an actual separate full moon vigil? Do you know, Neil?
There's going to be, it's in the same vigil room, but we're also going to be playing the solar fire ritual.
Right, okay.
In the vigil room.
All right. So, okay. Aquarius. The exoteric mantra, which applies to personality-based Aquarians, is let desire inform be ruler. Dwayne Carpenter's banner for Aquarius gives us the esoteric keywords for this sign. Water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty men, suggesting that those for whom this mantra has become reality identify with the source of life itself. Water of life am I. It's saying, I am the path. This will eventually become the keynote for most of us in our work as world servers. Only a very few, DK tells us, will follow the Piscean path of the world savior. Aquarius is particularly meaningful for us now since we stand on the cusp of the Aquarian age, which promises an upliftment of humanity through the externalization of the hierarchy, who will literally pour forth the water of life for a thirsty humanity. In fact, from one point of view, we can see the entire hierarchy as a great water carrier. Here's the Jofra Bochart image of Aquarius, where we see 7 lotuses representing the 7 major chakras being nourished by the water of life. These can be seen as the chakras within each of us because we're all watered by this soul life stream. But it can also be seen as the chakras within that being who is the human kingdom as a whole, and also as the kingdoms of nature that form the centers in the body of the planetary logos. The service-oriented Aquarian begins by carrying the water jug on his shoulder, but when he or she becomes the path itself, the water jug is shifted to the head, the metaphor for activation of the head chakra, and the disciple becomes one with the law of service. From a cosmic perspective, The whole earth can be seen as a water vessel, the nourishing mother aspect called by the Hindus Vash, which means the word, which is charged by Shambhala, the source of the life aspect on our planet, via the hierarchy. The skull represents the illusion of death, whose specter reigns during our long sojourn on the three planes of human endeavor, but which is actually a portal leading to the higher realms where Aquarius rules. Note the little figure standing right at the portal, facing the shining city on the hill. The exoteric ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. Michael made the observation in last year's Aquarian pre-full moon meditation that though Uranus is the exoteric ruler, it is nonetheless the major ruler of Aquarius. We usually look to the esoteric ruler as disciples to determine the influence of the sign. But one reason that Uranus is so dominant in this sign is because the moon, which is the hierarchical ruler, veils Uranus, right? The moon veils three planets, and highest among them is Uranus, which makes available to us that electrical revelatory energy of occult mind. Again, from last year's presentation, Michael noted that, quote, Aquarius rules the cosmic etheric subplanes, where life truly begins and where we transcend the death of concretion, unquote. Of course, like all signs, Aquarius has its shadow side. For instance, because it allows for a free flowing of circulation, it promotes pandemics. It was 2 years ago during Aquarius and Pisces that COVID-19 really took off. But that same capacity to circulate energy will also facilitate the coming in of the Aquarian age. In Esoteric Astrology's opening paragraph on Aquarius, DK says, this constellation is one of supreme importance to our solar system at this time, for it is a sign into which our sun is rapidly moving, and its influence is gaining in momentum and added potency with each vanishing decade. It is, therefore, largely responsible for the changes now being effected in our planetary life in all the kingdoms of nature. And because it is an air sign, its influence is all pervasive and interpenetrating. So as we move closer to the actual start of the Aquarian age, which some say will begin in 2117, we are also coming increasingly under the influence of Saturn, which rules Aquarius's first decadent. Hercules' Aquarian labor epitomizes the work that has to be done under this Saturnian influence. Hercules' 11th grade task is called cleansing the Ogygian stables. He accomplishes this labor by diverting 2 great rivers into the stables, which wash away the accumulated filth, a metaphor for personality-centered activity. The Labors of Hercules, the little book that was published, tells us that these 2 streams are life and love, and their use will, quote, embody the technique of the Aquarian age. Okay, with that, let us turn to our meditation. Keep in mind that every full moon meditation helps to build our causal body into a more fit vehicle, and with it, the group causal body is formed. The fact that we are less than 24 hours before the full moon puts us in the day of safeguarding, of receiving and holding. Okay, so let us start our meditation. Spines erect, starting to use our breath to calm our physical bodies. Check in with your emotional body and calm any emotions that are acting up there. And let us, as a group, withdraw our consciousness from our personality vehicles and begin to enter into the deep presence of the soul. Cast your point of attention into that highest place, that field of light that the soul represents, above personality reaction. And it is here that we can come together and merge ourselves as individual souls into that deep sense of the group soul, which Aquarius specifically represents. We can enhance this sense of connection by visualizing a ring of light with each of us as points within that ring. Now let us extend outward that sense of the group connection and include the spiritually minded people of the world and all the men and women of goodwill. Expand yet further, merging the group soul and the soul of humanity into the soul of humanity. Realize that there is no my soul and thy soul. And from this place, we can truly say, not is, but me. So from this point of deep interconnectedness, in accordance with the color of your soul ray, gathered at the mental unit and forming the foundation of the Antakarana, let us begin this work of extending and building that Antakarana upward towards the monastic permanent atoms. Use the color indigo. If you don't know your solar personality ray, it's always safe to use the second ray, indigo. So let us imaginatively visualize our dual colored individual Antakarana or rainbow bridge, connecting the lower mind, extending upwards to the monastic permanent atom. That dual colored personality and soul ray colors build it upwards towards the monastic permanent atom. And then imaginatively link it with the Buddhic and Atmic permanent atoms of the spiritual triad. as we build, imagine your individual Antakarana merging with the dual colors of other individual Antakaranas and forming a great group web of light, the group Antakarana, which has within it all the 7 colors of the 7 rays, but which is overshadowed by the indigo blue of the second ray. Visualize this group Antakarana extending upwards or inwards into the realms of the spiritual triad. Inwardly and in continued identification with the group soul, let us together affirm the great word of power, the second ray, mantram of power. I see the greatest light. And as we say this together as a group, imaginatively project a line of vivid, living white light into the triadal realms. In the presence of this great light of the spiritual triad, attempt to feel the presence of the Great White Brotherhood, the Lodge of Masters, the spiritual hierarchy of our planet. Now let us, with heartfelt gratitude, offer our salutations to the Masters and to the head of the hierarchy, the Christ. Om. Salutations to the Buddha, the Lord of light and wisdom. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all masters. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we work most closely. Salutations to the Master Moria. To the Master Kuthumi. And to the Master Dual Kul. Salutation to the spiritual hierarchy of our planet. Now, while holding this visualization of the group Antakarana and that sense of decentralized connection, let us imaginatively raise our thought to Shambhala, the center where the will of God is known, and with deepest reverence and in all humility, identified as the group soul, attune to the presence of Sanat Kumara, who stands at the center of Shambhala. Realize that Shambhala is the planetary center through which the energies of the constellations and the planets initially enter in accordance with the law of assembly, and are thus distributed to all sentient beings upon the earth. And now let us turn our attention to the three planetary rulers of the constellation of Aquarius: Uranus, Jupiter, and the moon, which veils Uranus. Let us ponder on the power of Uranus, the home of electric fire. Focus on the alchemical power of Uranus to transmute, transform, transfigure, and translate, which allows us to reorder the lower worlds according to the pattern in heaven, the archetypal pattern. Let us open our consciousness to the impressions born upon that uranium stream of energy. What areas can this group best receive these energies? Where can Uranus nurture our group effort? Let us visualize ourselves becoming imbued with the divine qualities of Uranus. Let us ponder on the power of Jupiter, the esoteric ruler of Aquarius, which allows us to receive that fullness of group consciousness and group love, enlarging the group causal body. And leading us to life more abundant. Let us together open our consciousness to impressions from the Jupiterian stream of energy. In what ways can this group be nourished by this Jupiterian expansive energy? Now let us imagine ourselves imbued with this divine quality that streams to us from Jupiter. Now we turn our attention to the moon, the hierarchical ruler of Aquarius. veiling Vulcan, Neptune, and Uranus in relation to the physical, astral, and mental planes. These influences lead to the transfiguration of the human personality and eventually to the transfiguration of the personality of all humanity. Vulcan, Neptune, Uranus open our consciousness imaginatively to the impressions born upon this triple stream. Vulcan irradiating our etheric physical atoms. Neptune with its transcendent love, transforming our astral bodies. And Uranus providing that occult brilliance to our mental bodies. How can our group bring this energy in, this stream of living energy into our group consciousness? Now, let us turn our attention to the solar logos, which expresses itself through the sun in our solar system. Attempt to feel that great second ray of power, of love, wisdom that shines out through the solar logos. Let us, as a group, focus our imagination on the constellation Aquarius, the water bearer. Attempt to feel the energy quality of Aquarius and realize its profound relation to the fifth ray of mind, energized by Uranus. Ponder deeply the mantra of Aquarius, water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty men. Imagine the group unity, saying this as the truth of the group. Water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty men. Okay, let us now together visualize an energetic downflow from the constellation Aquarius through the solar logos at the heart of the solar system, through the planets Uranus, Jupiter, and the moon, veiling Vulcan, Neptune, and Uranus, down into Shambhala, and thus through each of our monads and our collected group monad, into the hierarchy, through the great Lord, the Christ, and into and through your ashram with which you believe yourself to be increasingly associated. And thus through your soul and the group soul And finally, into your spiritualized personality and all associated spiritualized personalities. Now, while preserving this high alignment, including that of the visualized antakarana, let's turn our attention to the world situation and ponder on ways in which the energies of Aquarius can be applied for the upliftment and redemption of humanity and the planet. We'll take a moment here. Visualize the energies of Aquarius, rightly applied, solving at least one important problem that humanity faces. Now, imbued with all these energies which have been bestowed upon our group at this time at the Aquarius full moon, with hands upraised, let us together send our blessings into humanity so that it may rise to its new spiritual potential as promised by the divine plan. Now, still holding this point of group tension and preserving our high alignment, let us sound the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Okay, friends, thank you very much for joining us today. I'll see you next time.
Anybody didn't read in the vigil part? The vigil is still going. If you want to go back over there.
Thank you, Michael.